The story you are about to see is true. The names have not been changed because that would be silly. This is the city, New York, New York. I work here, making videos about China on YouTube. Anyway, it was Saturday, August 17th, when the Times broke a story that JPMorgan Chase, an American multinational bank and financial services holding company and largest bank in the United States, is being grilled by the SEC. No formal charges have been made, but this is a bribery investigation, and you don't need to work at the docks to know when something smells fishy, like a crate full of fish at the docks. JPMorgan has already been involved in some pretty sketchy dealings. Right now, 8 different federal agencies, a state regulator, and 2 foreign nations are investigating the multinational, which operates in more than 60 countries and has a net asset of $2.5 trillion. The big one is the London whale scandal. In 2012, the company lost over $6 billion and allegedly tried to cover up the losses, misleading investors and regulators. Last week, the FBI said it was filing criminal charges against 2 of the bank's former traders in London, and former government watchdog for the financial crisis bailout program, Neil Barofsky, said it was entirely consistent with fraud. Speaking of bailouts, JPMorgan Chase received $25 billion in bailouts despite financing 2 of the largest subprime lenders, Countrywide and Ameriquest, that helped cause the financial meltdown of 2008. They were also making huge profits as the bank Bernie Madoff used from 1992 until his Ponzi scheme was exposed in 2009. Madoff's victims have sued JPMorgan, saying they knew about the fraud but failed to report it when they pulled out their money just a year before Madoff's empire came crumbling down. But now it seems like the bank may have some dirty dealings with China. Business in China runs off guanxi. That's a term for relationships, knowing the right people in high places so you can get things done. JPMorgan Chase just happened to have hired several children of powerful Chinese executives with close ties to the government right before winning major contracts in China with the companies their parents worked for. One is Tang Xiaoning, son of Tang Shuangning, current chairman of China's state-controlled financial conglomerate China Everbright Group. After he was hired, JPMorgan beat out rivals for several lucrative assignments with Everbright. Then there's Zhang Xixi, daughter of Zhang Shuguang, former deputy chief engineer of China's now-defunct railway ministry. JPMorgan was hired to take the China Railway Group public in 2007. It's a construction company with the Chinese government as one of its main clients, and JPMorgan got the job right around the time Zhang Xixi got her job with JPMorgan. Another interesting coincidence. By the time Zhang became an associate 4 years later, JPMorgan also won the coveted role of helping a high-speed railway company go public. But that plan was derailed after the deadly 2011 Wenzhou train collision that would play a big role in the railway ministry's downfall and the suspended death sentence of its head, Liu Zhijun. The SEC is asking for the names of all those involved in hiring Zhang and Tang, employment files, salary, communications, and all contracts or agreements between JPMorgan and the Ministry of Railways. Now, the SEC hasn't accused JPMorgan of any crime. That's because it'd be tricky to prove that those 2 were actually hired as a means of bribing Chinese officials into contracts. It could be both Zhang and Tang were really the most qualified, and it just happened to coincide with the multinational winning major contracts with Chinese companies that their parents just happened to be major players in. Or it could be they were hired so JPMorgan could get in good with Everbright in the Railways Ministry, that guanxi, which would be a bit ethically questionable but not technically illegal. The only thing that would be illegal is if their salaries was a cover for bribing their families. And good luck proving that's what actually happened. But this is a sign that the US government is keeping a close eye on how American companies do business in China and its willingness to take them to task if anything suspicious goes on. But many foreign companies feel that dirty dealings is just how you play the game in China. Though technically illegal, private investigation is a thriving business in China. Foreign companies hire private eyes to look into their Chinese partners since corporate intrigue and intellectual property theft are rife. Then there's China's graft probe into British pharmaceutical GlaxoSmithKline that's been accused of using bribery and prostitution to navigate the murky waters of China's healthcare industry. So what do you think about the bribery investigation of JPMorgan Chase? Leave your comments below and check back again tomorrow for another new episode of China Uncensored. Until then, you can check out the Facebook or Twitter page. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.